For the last 10 years or so, women's labor force participation is pretty flat. And a lot of social scientists are writing about that and saying that maybe women have plateaued. Maybe this is it. This is as much as we're going to work. This is as much as we're going to make. There's just that nut of family care that women have to do, and that's just the way it's going to be. I actually don't believe that. I feel like women are continuing to increase their education, and education is the biggest driver really of pushing and attracting women into the labor market. Educated women are attractive to employers to hire, and education tends to broaden women's horizons and make them want to contribute to the broader society, not just through their family, but also through the broader society. Women share those same goals with men, in my view, and I don't see them pulling back particularly. But if we look at the wage situation, we also see a kind of stasis. This is 50 years of men's and women's wages from 1960 on in 2011 dollars. And you'll see a couple of interesting things here. The red line is women, below the men's, but it has been steadily increasing in real dollar terms, corrected for inflation. And it's now at about 37,000 in 2011. And men, you see a totally different picture. You see that their wages were rising through the mid-1970s at a pretty good clip, and then they've been flat ever since at 48,000 a year. Now, this has meant that the gap between women and men have gotten smaller, and you can sort of tell that a lot of it is because men haven't continued to go up, but some of it is also because women's wages have gone up. So the gap between men's and women's wages has fallen, but it has stayed about the same now for the last 13 years. It's at about 77%, and just the other day it was announced that it's 76.5%. That's actually not a statistically significant difference, so it's essentially the same. And why have men's wages been flat? I think that's a very interesting thing, and I think we're hearing a lot about that. If you project that early part of their rise and you just make that go all the way up, you would see what a big gap there is between what men are earning and what they would be earning if the former line had continued. Well, the economy has continued. The productivity, the output is continuing to grow. A slightly slower pace, but still it's continuing to grow. All of those productivity gains have gone to the top 10 and 20%. And no one else is sharing in those gains on the male side. And that is, why we got Occupy Wall Street movement, why we've had so much emphasis now on what can we do about this, the high inequality. It's really bad for everyone, with the possible exception of those at the very top. So women have been in the enviable position of having a bit of real wage growth, which men have not had. But for the education they have and so on, they still earn less than men. Basically, a woman has to get a college degree to earn as much as what a guy earns with a high school diploma. And that's been the case for 20 or 30 years.